Why did that one kid get expelled? Playing kickball in gym class, kid kicked his shoe off and his bag of W came flying out right to the teacher's feet. I was in the theater department back in high school. One day at the beginning of our acting class, the teacher came in and told us all to sit down. This one kid sat in the middle of the front row, and as he took his seat, his glass W pipe fell out of his pocket and clattered to the floor. Everyone is silent for a moment. Then the teacher just goes, "All right, I'm gonna go out in the hallway for 30 seconds. Then I'm gonna come back in and we'll try this again." Walked out. Walked back, and 30 seconds later, like he said, saw that the pipe was no longer in evidence, and class proceeded like normal, or as close to normal as theater classes ever get. Look, man, if you started kicking kids out for smoking W, there wouldn't be a theater department left. My theater director set 4 of my classmates up to be expelled from school during the last few months of their senior years because they showed up to act in the spring musical High, and were honest when she asked about it after the fact. They ended up only getting secondary school, but it was still a huge betrayal. I was part of the group but said I had no idea what they were talking about when confronted. Was excused while they chatted with her so openly and explained why they smoked and just gave way too much away to an adult they trusted. The next day, all of them were facing expulsion because of this recording where they admitted to smoking W off campus, after hours, and then performing their roles flawlessly. The next year, medicinal W was legalized in my home state. One of the people in question works in a dispensary. Lol. That was my junior year, and truly theater was the only thing tethering me to still give a sh about school, but this broke my trust in even that space being safe. Kind of a bummer in retrospect. Man, that's rough, buddy. Thought he was funny and decided to grab the SRO student resource officer's gun. Our SRO also happened to be part of SWAT. He did this as we all left end of day. Crowded hall. I remember this vividly over 20 years later. This was also post-Columbine by like a month. Kid got slammed into a wall, put in cuffs, arrested, and expelled immediately. How he thought that was funny is beyond me. Thinking back to some of my friends during my teenage years, I 100% could see one of them being dumb enough to do this. Kids that age love pushing every boundary but lack so much understanding about consequences. Things are changing now since it seems like most schools want to ignore problems or send them right to the police, but IMO back in the day that was a big point of schools. It let you work out in a practical sense that your choices had consequences before it mattered as much. I have a student I legitimately worry about in the next few years. She has been coddled so heavily by her high school that she has never faced a consequence. Realized early on that the school won't fail her. Got to the point where she went roughly 2 hours a week, if that, and still ended up passing. Most kids go to that school for 6 semesters. She is going to be finishing on semester 9 if she passes her course in the fall. Talking to her, she 100% believes her current state will continue and is going to get a huge B slap from life. And it won't be in the playpen that is school. It's going to be in the concrete, sharp-edged real world where landing will hurt a whole lot more. He stabbed another kid with a letter opener he made in shop class. We didn't make letter openers in shop class after that. Was stabbed with a sharpened pencil stick, still not quite sure to this day, once by a fellow student, right in my side. All he got was 3 months suspension. I got stabbed in the back with a pen, and all he got was a "boys will be boys" from the principal. Well, literally, this still have the effing scar. I still have a pencil lead tattoo from 3rd grade. For lifting up his shorts and exposing his balls through the leg hole to the principal, while said principal was escorting potential investors for the school. Okay, that's so funny, but understandable why he was expelled. Balls. Peeing on a teacher who wouldn't let him go to the bathroom. A girl changed her tampon in the corner of the classroom to prove a point. She was suspended pending expulsion, but her dad was a lawyer. A week later, any girl who wanted to use the bathroom was allowed, no questions asked. Fast forward 2 months and guys were getting pissed that we couldn't use bathrooms either. So one guy got denied a bathroom 3 times in the 90-minute class. He walked up and peed in the trash can. He was expelled. I guess he missed the part where you need lawyer parents. I feel like that's still a violation of his rights. You can't stop kids from needing to pee. My senior year, there was this kid that asked to use the bathroom. The teacher told him no, and he responded, "I'm going to the bathroom." I just asked as a courtesy and left to go to the bathroom. Nothing happened to him. That was the moment that radicalized me, lol. One wish I had my adult understanding of priorities when I was in K-12. Like realizing what things actually mattered and who was actually important. Free going to the bathroom would have been amazing. He brought a gun to school and posted it on Snapchat. Instantly got caught and expelled. Stupidest thing anyone has ever done, but also a blessing in disguise. My kid's school. Kid posted on Instagram and Snapchat the threats with pictures of the gun. Tried to get all the kids in trouble for not going to school instead of getting the kid who made threats. Didn't go well for the school. Kid who made threats never returned, but we were never told if it was voluntary or not. He did get help though. They tried to tell us it's okay, the kid has a troubled home life. That's how all this starts. At my high school, a kid took a Snapchat of a gun and sent it to his friends in a group chat. One of them screenshotted it and added the caption, "Don't come to school, Tonero." And it spread like wildfire. Poor guy didn't even do anything wrong. It was a hunting rifle. Half our school didn't show up, and he ended up having to transfer to another school for a year because of all the dislike he got for it. Don't think his friend even got punished for it. Tackled and restrained by coaches after he grabbed a bat from the storage room with the intention of beating his pregnant math teacher with it. Holy sh, this post is filled with insane kids. Well, they're expelled. The expelled kid in my middle school was a stereotypical bully, not a maniac. Downloading P on the school computers was the last straw. He even used his own login. Couldn't have waited till he got home, huh? When the erection hits, you just go with it. Stabbed a kid for mocking his dead sister. Hey, how's your sister? Why don't you ask her? She had just been in a drunk driving accident a few days earlier. Must be a bit harder losing your twin. I can't blame him. I'd most definitely do the same. It would be hard not to stab someone that's absolutely asking for it. Planned a food fight that turned into a riot with property damage and then fled from the police. At a high school near me, 20 years ago, the senior class decided to have a food fight at lunch on the last day of classes one year. Turned into a riot with the school locked down for the whole afternoon. Kids frantic on cell phones even then, with their parents because they had no clue why this was happening. And the state police and about 20 other local law enforcement agencies deployed to the school. The school expelled 12 of the graduating seniors, very difficult to do for a public school, but not impossible, and barred about the same amount of others from taking part in graduation. I think this was my high school in CA. The vice principal got hit in the head with an apple while trying to break up the riot. The worst part is that I missed the whole thing because I was at the dentist. That's what the mastermind would say. Yeah, that alibi sounds a bit conspicuous, Ingle. Here's one: a girl got drunk at a house party. Some guy ejaculated on her hair and took photos of it, as well as a few photos of her naked and unconscious. The girl's boyfriend went John Wick on the guy when he got emailed the photos by the guy. He was sent away for beating the sh out of this Sewell Swalter. who wasn't even given detention. And the girl's photos got sent around for years and people called her terrible school. Edit. I was away for 12 hours and this has kind of blown up. It was a big school. So if you think that it's your school, there's a chance it was. The guy knocked out most of the teeth of that bloke. And there was a long debate about whether it was justified. I reckon it was edit too. This was in Australia. And I have no idea how any of the involved are now. I could ask. But don't want to. They were a couple of years above me. That's effed up. The boyfriend is a hero. Him and his cousin beat up the deputy principal and tried to K him with a spade at school. No charges ended up being laid. Later went on to K a tourist during the 2000 New Year's and dump his body in the harbor. Edit. Brothers not cousins' memory is a little hazy after 23 years. I personally didn't know them, but knew enough to stay the F away from them. They were known for being trouble kids. Our art teacher stopped the attack. He's a hero IMO. Well, gun sleuths for finding the articles. Oh my gosh, that is wild. Kindergartner. Long list of threatening behaviors. Foster kid with every kind of pasta. Told me he was going to shoot himself and then come shoot me. I refrained from pointing out his lapse in logistics. That situation is awful for everyone. Anyone who has kids should be locked away forever. He just kept shitting his pants. There was nothing wrong with him. He just kept doing it. Same place. Same time, every day. Right after recess when we lined up to go inside, he'd just let loose the fattest and wettest fart you'd ever heard. And it would echo through the silent hallway for literally everyone in the grade to hear. At first we thought it was just embarrassing for him, but by the time week 2 came around, we were all convinced he was doing it intentionally. I have no explanation because he was kicked out after like 3 months of consistently doing it. Edit. I nearly forgot. He would announce to everyone he sh himself to by saying, and I quote, "Whoops. I pooped myself. So one of my mom's friends had a son that did this. He would decide he wanted to leave and sh his pants so his mom would come get him. His mom was so sweet and naive she just picked him up over and over again without realizing he was playing her. She thought he was having stomach issues and the teacher wouldn't let him go to the bathroom. Finally, she was at her wit's end because she was tired of washing stained clothes and missing so much work. My mom, a mother of 4, who could smell bullsh within a 10-mile radius, told her the next time he did it to bring him a change of clothes and send him back to class. She took my mom's advice and he never did it again. That's some Cartman level of no dignity. Most PPL are embarrassed to fart around others. Meanwhile, this kid was just shitting his britches daily. Steamy Ray Vaughan? No, that's Stevie Ray Vaughan. Steamy Ray Vaughan just shs her britches. Giving ABJ in the staircase with glass walls facing the cafeteria windows during lunch. And I'm assuming the recipient was not expelled. I'm only assuming the giver was female. Bingo? That's fucked up. Yeah. Honestly, the more I think about it, I actually have no idea who the guy was. Just the girl. For all I know, he might have been expelled too. But no one talked about him. Just the girl. Very fucked. But man, will the memory of everyone around me booking it toward the window one day during lunch be ingrained in my brain forever. Middle school. He was really into Assassin's Creed video game and main character is an assassin. He also seemed like a slightly depressed edgy kid. I became friends with him during his last 23 weeks. He told me he wanted to make a cool stabby blade thing that shoots out of his sleeve like in the video game. I told him that would be cool, but I was never dumb enough to do it myself. He actually made it and brought it to school. We spent a couple of days of recess and lunch running around, and I watched him chastise some of the kids, including myself. I never thought he'd harm anyone, though. Someone must have told on him. School supervisor guy came in, asked for him and his backpack, and he never came back. I think I saw him a few years later and he thought I was the one that told on him. I tried to deny it but didn't want to risk getting into an argument. My teacher found this drawing I made, and when she asked what it was I told her it was for a gasoline gun. I mean, I couldn't really lie because it said gasoline gun right on it, but she just said interesting and handed it back to me. Honestly, if I ever did make one I probably would have blown myself up. I can't imagine doing that in school today. A wild imagination could get you kicked out or worse. Back in 2014, a fiend classmate on the same sports team almost got expelled for doodling after a test in senior gov. He drew Sarge from Red vs. Blue, with the words shotgun to the face. You just got sarged. The teacher of the class saw it and thought he was somehow threatening to K her. Some reason he chose me to back him up, and I got called down to the office. Got there, and he's there with his mom, while she's yelling at the principal who asked me to ID what they were looking at. We then proceeded to watch an episode of our VB in the school principal's office. It was weird. Some reason he chose me to back him up because it turned out to be the best and most correct decision. I got nominated to do this so often I was on a first-name basis with the principal and VP by the end of my sophomore year of high school. By senior year, my principal told me I should be a lawyer lol. Walked out of English class to talk to another kid in the hall. The teacher was real lax, so she didn't care he walked out to talk to this guy. Fight breaks out in the hall. Teacher runs out. Other teachers come help break up the fight. One teacher asks the kid that walked out class why they were fighting, and he said he stole my W. Kid who left class was selling, and the kid in the hall tried to walk off without paying. Any other BS excuse would have just got him suspended. Sounds like he freed up a whole bunch of time to expand his business though. But lost an easy market in a HS of over 1,600 kids. So it didn't happen to me, but my friend was expelled for taking a SH in the teacher's purse. We had a kid in the trash can when she said he couldn't go to the bathroom. Was 10 experience to witness. When I was in elementary 80s, one of the staff forced me to eat a portion of my lunch that I wanted nothing to do with. Don't recall what it was, but I took one bite and vomited all over the table. They never forced me to eat anything again after that. You got off lucky. I went to preschool in a third world country. You try that SH and they'll make you eat your vomit to teach you about wasting food. I'm no expert, but that sounds kinda effed up. Flopped his dick on another dude's shoulder in his room at study hall. Boarding school is weird. That was a thing at my school. If you got a dick placed on your shoulder, you were gay until you put your dick on someone else's shoulder. Oh well, guess I'm gay now. Only until you put yours on someone else's. You're only gay forever if they get their balls on your forehead. If I recall, perching one's balls and floppy dick on someone's shoulder was known as pirating, as the dick resting on the balls resembled a parrot. At least, that's what I heard. Happened in kindergarten. There was a kid named Dexter who had severe anger issues. Every day a small group of kids would get certain jobs to do around the classroom, such as line leader, table cleaner, etc. Dexter got the table cleaner position and he was absolutely livid since he wanted to be line leader. What started off as a screaming fit escalated into him throwing scissors around the class, biting the teacher's hand, shattering a window with his flying scissors, breaking the tank that housed the class gerbils, and just trashing the entire classroom. The rest of the students had to evacuate the class while the teacher and principal attempted to restrain him. Security had to get involved. Never saw him again after that day. Bruh, that's my name, and I was a little brat in kindergarten lol. At least that story wasn't about me because we didn't have gerbils at my school. I read the first 2 sentences and thought OSH. But did you have a laboratory?